Hello, my wonderful children. Welcome back to math. So, yesterday we talked about percents and how to turn percents into decimals and fractions. And so today we are going to talk about how to turn decimals into percents and how to turn fractions into percents. We're going to work the other way today. Yesterday we did percents to those things. Now we're going to work backwards and go decimals to percents and fractions to percents. We're going to start with going from decimals to percents. That's the easier one to start with today, so that's where we're going to be. Now, when we did percents to decimals, we moved our decimal place 2 places to the left. So when we do decimals to percents, we're going to move decimal place 2 places right. We're just doing it backwards today. Yesterday, we went to the left. Today, we're going to the right. So if I have a decimal like 3.8 as my decimal, right? That's my decimal. To turn it into a percent, I'm going to take my decimal point, move it 2 places backwards, fill in with a 0, and that will give me 380%. Okay, take my decimal, move it 2 places to the right, and that is my percent. If I had 0.19, I would take my decimal, move it 2 places back, and that would give me 19%. Okay, when I'm starting at a decimal, I want to go to the right. If I'm starting at a percent, I want to go to the left. Let's say I wanted to convert this one. Let's say I wanted to convert this number to a percent. Which direction would I go? Well, that's exactly what I did earlier. Keep the same kind of thing, but we're going to go here. Which direction would I go? Yes, I'm going to go to the right. 2 places gives me a 72%. All right, moving from a decimal to a percent, move all the way to the right 2 places, that gives me the percent. All right, now let's talk about the one that takes a little bit more math, a little bit more to do in this second situation. So if I have a fraction to a percent, okay, if I have a fraction to a percent, what I want to do, there's 2 ways I can do it. Okay, there's 2 ways that I can do this. Way 1, let me change this a little bit. Make the fraction out of 100. Oops, not 100%, just out of 100. Make the fraction out of 100. And in this situation, numerator is percent. Okay, so remember, all percents are fractions out of 100. So if my fraction can become out of 100, then my numerator would be the percent. So if I had something like, I don't know, let's say 3/20. Well, can I get from 20 to 100? Yes, I can, by timesing by 5, right? If I times this number by 5, that will get me to 100. If I do something to the bottom, I do the same thing on top. 3 times, whoops, gave you the answer there. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 out of 100. Remember, if 100 is my bottom number, my numerator here becomes my percent. 15%. Okay, so if 100 is my bottom number, my numerator is the percent. They work just like that. So if I can get my fraction to have a denominator, if I can find an equivalent fraction, remember that word, if I can find an equivalent fraction where 100 is my denominator, I can take my numerator and that becomes my percent. Now, this doesn't work every time. So the second method I have here, the second way I can do fractions to percents is convert fraction to decimal, convert decimal to percent. Okay, we know how to do this part. We just learned it. That's move my decimal 2 places to the right. And we know how to do this part. We did this a couple chapters ago, convert fraction to decimal. So if we can do those 2 steps, this also would work. Let's say I had something like, we'll say 3/6. Now I can't get from 6 to 100. There's no multiplication to do that. So what I'm going to do is, since I can't multiply, I'm going to turn this into a decimal. Now remember, to turn it into a decimal, you divide and you put numerator on the inside and denominator on the outside. All right, numerator goes inside, denominator goes outside. And so we say 6 goes into 3, 0 times, add my decimal, add a 0, 6 goes into 30, 5 times, that's 30, and I'm done. So my decimal here is 0.5. Now to convert my decimal, I'm going to move my decimal point 2 places over, fill in my blank with a 0, and that gets me 50%. 50% is 3/6. 3/6 equals 3 divided by 6 equals 0.5 equals 50%. So that's the other method I can take to do fractions to percents. If I had something like, I don't know, what could I do? I could do 5/8 here. I can't get from 8 to 100, so I need to divide. Numerator on the inside, denominator on the outside. Let me erase some of this up here. All right, 8 goes into 5. Can 8 go into 5? No, it cannot. So add our 0, decimal, and a 0. 8 goes into 50. 8 can go into 50 6 times. That gives me a 48. This gives me a 2. Add a 0, bring it down. 8 goes into 20 2 times. This gives me a 16. This gives me a 4. Add a 0, bring it down. 8 goes into 40 5 times. And that's 40, and we're done. So 5/8 turns into 5 divided by 8, turns into 0.625. To convert, move my decimal 2 places to the right, turns into 62.5%. And that is turning fractions into percents. Okay? Turning fractions into percents. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question here. Which of these 2 values is larger? 72% or 6/8? Which of these 2 values is larger? Well, in order to compare values, right? That's the last thing we're doing today, is comparing values. So in order to compare values, you need to get them to be the same kind of number. Let's make both of them into percents, which means we keep this one as 72%. Great. Now, 6/8. Can we get from 8 to 100? No, we cannot. So we have to divide. Do a little bit of division here. What is happening? All right. So this 6/8 becomes 6 divided by 8 can't go in. 8 goes into 60 7 times. That's a 56. That's a 40. 8 goes into 40 5 times. So this turns into 0.75. Move my decimal over 2 times. 75%. So 6/8 becomes 75%. And which is bigger, 75% or 72%? 75% is bigger, so 6/8 is bigger. All right, we're going to be working on comparing some things as well. So when we get to it, how about we do this one all on your own? You give me the right answer, and you are free to go today. We're going to say 17% and 1.7. Which of these two numbers is larger? I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.